Hi guys, my name is Nogariwa Mushai and I'm here to talk about a guy who brought huge changes in his country and so that we forget about excuses. Shia kuga, oh, I don't have enough time or I'm unable to do something. I think the guy that I'm talking about today, and one of the guys that, daiguregwea because again, revolutionaries, no muhaka makorwo matireigwo guoya. So today I'm talking about Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara. I hope I'm not butchering his second name. And he was born on 21st December in 1949 and he was assassinated on the 15th of October in 1987 and he was Burkinabe military officer, a Marxist and a Pan-Africanist. Revolutionary, served as Burkina Faso president from 1983, taking over from a coup until his assassination in 1987, and he died at 37 years of age. I write my notes because this is a lot of information. Some, I could miss some. And I know you can get all this information online. He got appointed as a prime minister in 1983 that resulted into his imprisonment. At 33 years of age, Sankara became president of the Republic of Upper Volta. Initially, Burkina Faso was Upper Volta and launched unprecedented series of social, ecological, and economic reforms in 1984. In 1984, Sankara oversaw the renaming of the country to Burkina Faso, land of their upright people. Genius guy. And personally recited or what do you call it, wrote the national anthem of Burkina Faso. Like Gaddafi, Mudhuri wetagwo Thomas Sankara rejected loans and capital from IMF. He, however, welcomed some foreign aid in an effort to boost the domestic economy to make Burkina Faso self-sufficient country. He also made policies to eradicate poverty, famine prevention, agrarian expansion, famine prevention, land reforms, suspending rural poll taxes, as well as nationwide literacy campaign. By the way, it's also part of the things that I've written. He vaccinated 2.5 million children against measles, yellow fever, in a matter of weeks. He was able to do that because I think the previous government never allowed that. He also initiated his literacy campaign ĩrĩa yahotire gũthomithia andũ from 13% in 1998 in 1993 to 73% in 1987. Imagine he was able to do that. So this guy had a vision for this country, and it was so clear what he really wanted. He was a very young guy, but he was not afraid. He focused on building schools, healthcare centers, water reservoirs, infrastructure project, and he planted 10 million trees. Brilliant guy. And his major projects were making people or making Burkina Faso self-sufficient so that people can farm their own food marie na mahote kwendia so that they're able to help themselves. He also socially enforced the prohibition of female circumcision and forced marriages and also polygamy. I respect this guy. Even in his death, I respect him. Sankara reinforced his populist image by ordering the sale of luxury cars and properties owned by government officials in order to reduce costs. He also banned what he considered as luxury, whether they were motor vehicles or high-end homes, ACs in the homes. He banned all that to make sure that everyone, at least The gap between the rich and the poor, ndiakĩrĩ nene mũno. So he scratched all this. He also prosecuted public officials charged with graft, political crimes, and corruption. Wĩici wa indo cia mũingĩ, cia indo cia mũingĩ na ũhoro wa ungumania. He really prosecuted those guys firmly, you know, and I love that. Na njugaga atĩrĩrĩ, Kenya rĩrĩa tũgakinya hau, that waiya indo cia mũingĩ, punishment ĩgũkorwo ĩnene mũno, so that even the people coming in will be afraid of kuya utonga wa muingi. Sankara's revolutionary programs and reforms for African self-reliance made him an icon to many within the African countries. So, you know, African poverty-stricken nations. Sankara identified as a revolutionary and was also inspired by the examples of the Cubas, Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, and the Ghana's military leader, Jerry Rawlings. Jerry Rawlings. Jerry Rawlings was one of the guys that really inspired Fidel Castro, Sankara, to have such what do you call it? Very strong human values to change this country. He also, his policy was oriented towards fighting corruption and promoting reforestation. Of course, kwagĩa na ũhoro wa kũhanda mĩtĩ nĩ kũgĩa mbura na andũ makona gĩa kũrĩa. He built roads and railways to tie a nation together without foreign aid. Good job. Good job. He appointed, I love this, females to high high government positions, military, and granted pregnancy leave during education. I love this. Reduced salaries of public servants, including his own, and scratched first-class air tickets. I wish we were able to do that here in Kenya. He opposed foreign aid, saying, "He who feeds you controls you. He who feeds you controls you." Spoke about Organization of African Unity, ũhoro wa mabũrũri ma Africa gũkorwo me ũrũmwe, which I believe, as Nongari, the day African countries will come together, nĩguo tũkauma ũkombo-inĩ wa Mũngeretha na Mũamerica. If we are able to run ourselves as African countries, because we have a lot of wealth. Twina maguta, twina indo nyingĩ mũno na thahabu. Iria cingĩtũma twĩyeheranie na ũhoro wa aid kũheo nĩ the Western countries. He also converted Army's provisioning store into a store-owned supermarket open to everyone, the first supermarket in the country. Gũkũ nĩ tũkoragwo na harĩa DOD, nĩ tũkoragwo na ciĩtagwo atĩa, nduka icio cikoragwo ci discounted for the army, and this man, this brilliant guy called Sankara, made it for, you know, available for everyone. He forced first salary from the public servants to public projects. I wonder what Kenyan public servants magĩka meretwo mũcara wao wa mbere nĩ gũcoka kũrĩ ũkũria wa indo cia mũingĩ. He lowered his salary to $450 a month, limited possessions, atigirwo tu na ngari, maithikiri 4 bikes, 3 guitars, a fridge, and a broken freezer. So he made sure that there was no luxury. Like everyone, you know, to bridge a gap, ya mũndũ ũrĩa mũto wĩ igũrũ mũno na ũrĩa wĩ thĩ. At least ũkagĩa na, you know, some margin, eh? When asked why he didn't have his portrait, imagine. Bisha yake yagire every store, every duka, almost every home, akiuga where there are 7 million Thomas Sankaras. He was very selfless. Because I wonder whether, in our country, we are able to do that. Utuikite ati gutire mbica ya Ruto in your biashara. Ha, kajoeha. He also championed local production and consumption of local made goods so that, you know, makorwo atä nä marahota kwĩhe irio nĩ marahota gwĩkũria o ene nĩ marahota kũrĩha mbirũ ciao kũringana na ũrĩmi na maũndũ marĩa mekuo. He really made a huge change tondũ ambirie gũtungata. He got into power in 1983, so 84, 85, 86, 87. For 4 years, he was able to do all these things. But later on, Burkina Faso neoirwo nĩ mũtongoria ũngĩ, and you know, of course, it became worse because they never followed up whatever Thomas Sankara had started. One of his many quotes were like, "I want people to remember me as someone whose life has been helpful to humanity." And he really did. The other quote was, you cannot carry out fundamental change without a certain amount of madness. In this case, it comes from non-conformity, the courage to turn your back on the old formulas, the courage to invent the future. I love that. He also said our country produces enough to feed us all. Alas, for the lack of organization, we are forced to beg for food aid. It's this aid that instills our spirit, the attitude of beggars. And he really wanted to scratch that. Endaga Burkina Faso ikorwo ati ndiravatara mundu wa nanja. They don't care about the mzungus and whoever else was willing to, you know, build them in quotes. He also said we are not against progress, but we do not want progress that is anarchic, and criminally neglects the rights of others. He also said, individuals can be murdered, but you cannot kill ideas. Individuals can be murdered, but you cannot kill ideas. Thomas Sankara. How I wish African leaders, and more so Goko Kenya, people can learn about such selfless, brave revolutionists that love their country. By the way, he was a Pan-Africanist, a good one at that. And so, thank you so much for listening to me. I thought I would put that out about this man, this brilliant young man that died at only 37, and he made a huge difference that we are talking about him to date. Thank you.